What is up, people? Van from the Vaniverse Gaming Channel here with another video. Today's video is going to be my review of my experience with WoW Classic. When I was kind of on hiatus and left Conan for a while, I started playing WoW Classic with my friends, and I didn't have time to make videos and play multiple games, and so I dedicated my time to WoW Classic. I put in about 350 hours, and I'd like to kind of give you my experience over the time. You know, what I felt during it. Should you guys buy it, or in this case, subscribe to play it, or should you skip it? And kind of explain to you why I stopped playing. So let's kind of go into it here, and let's start from the beginning. I played WoW when it first came out. I was in beta, and a lot of people don't remember that WoW when it first came out was a freaking mess. It was laggy, server crashes, it was just miserable. It took about 6 months before it really got to be the game that everyone remembers. And I think that's what a lot of WoW Classic was the nostalgia. Everyone was like, wow, I remember all the fun I had. I want to go back and play. And I'll admit, I had no interest in playing WoW Classic. I remember how difficult it was. I remember the time consumption it was. And back then, I had time to play it. So I was very reserved at playing it. But I had 3 other buddies who were like, we're playing, let's all play together. And that's what inspired me to jump back in. So we jumped back in, and like every other time, just like in the old days, the queues were ridiculous. I mean, when you first joined the game, there were thousands of people. Some of the big famous servers had tens of thousands of people in queue. I mean, you would wait hours just to get in, which is good because of the excitement, but you know, you're like, why am I going to sit here in a queue for 4 hours to play a silly game? Then you jump in and like everything is camped. So the first initial experience was, God, this is miserable. This is just miserable. I can't do anything. But that kind of fixes itself a little bit after the first week. So I jump in and I picked the Shadow Priest. I wanted to play a priest. I wanted to be a Shadow Priest. I always remembered them being fun in PvP back in the day, and that's the whole reason why I joined WoW Classic, was because I wanted to do world PvP, because today's modern MMOs, there's no such thing. Everything's Care Bear bullshit. So, picked the Shadow Priest, well, regular priest, and my buddy's a warrior, so we got this great group, and every night we're getting on together, and we're questing together, and we're running dungeons. And it's a blast. I'm fishing, I'm making money, because in this game, like, I wanted a mount. Well, the mount's really freaking expensive, and so you got to start trying to make money right out of the gate. So I'm playing the markets on the auction house. I'm watching all these videos, and I am having a blast. We are just having a great time. WoW Classic does something really good. There is a perfect level of difficulty, time consumption, and the sense of reward. Everything in this game feels like you're achieving something when you complete it. So it's hard enough where you're like, oh my God, this sucks. But once you do it, you feel good about it. So as you're leveling up 1 to 60, by yourself, it's okay. Like, it feels like a grind. That's one thing about most MMOs, and including this one. Questing is a grind. You're just grinding out quests for the experience, and then you're moving to the next area. So doing that by yourself is pretty darn boring. Doing it with somebody else is a lot more fun, but it's going to take you longer because you're splitting the experience, but at least you're communicating and you're having a good time while you're doing it. That's the other great part about WoW Classic, is it's a social MMO. All the freaking MMOs nowadays are queue, join group, run, kill everything, end queue, 30 minutes. So for people who don't have a lot of time, great, but for someone who wants to like enjoy the game and play with somebody and talk, this is how this game works. It's social. It's building friends and guilds and groups and friend listing people who were really good, because if you suck at WoW Classic, that sucks. It makes everything harder. So leveling up, we had a great time. We were doing the dungeons, trade skilling, got our mounts, you know. So we went through the whole game. And then about level 40, one of our friends drops off. So now we're a 3-man, and we have to pug 2 other people. So pugging 2, still not that big of a deal. You're only doing dungeons to complete them. sometimes in the lower levels you want specific gear, but because you're leveling so fast, you're out leveling your gear, it's almost not worth it farming dungeons for gear. So we're cranking through dungeons, 2 hours or less, doing great. We get into the level 60, everyone maxes out, and then we just hit a giant wall. This is my problem with WoW Classic as a casual player. The leveling experience is great. The social aspect is great. The dungeons are fun at the lower levels because they're not super time consuming, but they're difficult. It's great. When you hit 60, the game completely changes. It is now turned from I have to hit a level and I can grind these quests to get there, to I have to grind gear. The problem with it is if you don't play 24/7, it's going to take you an eternity to grind gear because you're looking for your best in slot. If you want to join a raid guild, they're going to say you got to have your best in slot. Well, your best in slot comes from dungeons that are 2.5, 3 hours long, and the likelihood of getting a piece you need is slim to none. So at level 60, you are spending your time grinding dungeon after dungeon after dungeon to gear up. Some people like that. Other people like myself, I'm not going to spend 3 hours in a dungeon not to receive anything and do it over and over and over again. And so it was at this time I realized, wow, I am too freaking old and I don't have enough time to play WoW. And the nostalgia and the fun of Classic just changed into now being a job. So I'm like, no big deal. No big deal. I love PvP. Let's do PvP. So phase 2 comes out. Now you have honor systems. So you kill people, you get honor, you can get honor gear. That's why I joined the game. Yeah, okay. So because I'm a casual player, everybody I'm fighting that are level 60 already fully geared. So now I can't even compete in PvP, which is what I wanted to do, unless I'm ganking low levels, which is lame, and without getting gear. So I came to the realization of, okay, listen, if I'm going to play this game, I got to grind gear. It's going to be 3 hours a dungeon. God knows how many dungeons we have to grind to get the gear I need. And to what point? Just so I can have a little fun PvPing. By the time I'm done, they're going to come out with another phase. They change phases more than I change my underwear. So it's kind of ridiculous. And I realized, okay, I need to stop. So my buddy and I both quit. And when we quit, it was like this sense of, wow, I don't have to do it anymore. It was like a relief of I don't have to log in and grind anymore. And so at the end of the day, I look back at all the hours I put into this. I mean, I was playing Classic on my work laptop during lunch because I was so addicted to this damn game. But now I realize I do not regret any time I played. I had a ton of fun. We had so many memories. We enjoyed it. It was a great experience, and I wouldn't have gone back and changed it. But I realized that this is definitely an old school MMO where it's going to take you months of grinding to get where you need to go. And I just don't have that kind of time. So with all of that being said, if you have never played WoW and you want to jump in and try WoW Classic, understand that it is a grindy game. You're going to put in a lot of time. And if you have friends, it's a great time. If you're by yourself, you probably won't make it very far. Unless you join a good guild, because you can join good guilds and make friends in guilds, and that can actually make it a fun experience as well. But note that this is a very time-consuming game. The goal of this game is to be in the best gear and killing the best creatures, i.e. being in Molten Core or doing the raids as they come out, or being in the best gear to PvP and play against other players. Battlegrounds are coming out, so PvP is going to be a lot more of a group-based PvP. But again, those are your two goals. Endgame Classic is get geared, kill bigger and better bosses, or get geared and farm PvP. That's what you're going to do. So if you are one of those who love a game that's challenging, that's diverse, that's fun, and it requires a lot of grinding to become the best, this is the game for you. But if you're like, hey, I got a couple hours a week, I don't really want to grind an MMO, this is not the game for you. And that's what I realized. I have tried so hard to be somebody I'm not, living in my childhood and being a teenager, and it just doesn't fit my lifestyle anymore. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave any comments below if you've played Classic. Let me know your thoughts. Are you still playing? Did you quit and why? And just anything you want to leave about the game itself. I've been wanting to do this for a really long time. I've been thinking about it. And I know this is different than a lot of the other videos on my channel, but I put so much time into this game, and it's such a mainstream game, I really thought it was worth taking the time to do this. So, appreciate you guys watching. This is Van from the Vaniverse Gaming Channel. Cheers, and peace out.